What's up, everybody? Today we're going to take a look and listen to this JCM800 Bass Series full stack. So let's talk about these for a minute. There doesn't seem to be a lot of reliable information about these amps on the web. Even the Wikipedia page for JCM800s doesn't even mention the Bass Series at all. Judging by the faceplate style here, you've got a vertical and there's also a horizontal input version. That means they could have only been made from 1981 to 1989. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but all the information that I can find points to that these were made from 81 up until 1986. These amps also share the model numbers of their JMP counterparts, being the 1986 and the 1992 model Super Bass, but the similarities end there. For one, the Bass Series amps did not come with master volumes, and the EQ section is totally different from any JMP or from any 800 at all. Now, the mid and the mid sweep control are actually located right after the first gain stage, and this volume here controls the signal level going into the second gain stage, which is unfortunate because you're not going to get a great sound out of these unless they're cranked and deafening. That might be cool at band practice, but when you're on stage, the front of house sound engineer is going to lose his mind. So I was on the road when I purchased this one, and a friend of mine bought another one as well. And we were playing with him on stage, and the sound engineers kept telling us every night, turn down, turn down. That sucked because these were sounding awesome every night, but they had to be cranked. So when I got home from tour, I actually put in a traditional style master volume on the front, and I did lose the low input for that. This is a master volume similar to what you would find in any other JCM800. And on the back, I installed a post-phase inverter master volume. This amp sounds great with a little phase inverter distortion, but too much can sound flubby. This mod allows a lot of flexibility and a lot more tonal options to choose from, making this a very useful and very cool amp. I've had the amps for quite a few years, but I've been looking for the cabinets for a long time. I was lucky enough to stumble upon a pair that claims to have the original speakers in it when I was on the road last year. I haven't had a chance to open them up yet, so let's take the backs off and verify what's inside these. That's very cool. Looks like we've got Celestion Sidewinders in both of these cabs. And I've never seen this before, but looks like all these, are ported from the factory. So this is a great find to see all of the original speakers intact. This also appears to be all the factory wiring, which looks in good shape. I'm not seeing any cold solder joints or broken wires. This one appears to be solid. I am gonna touch this one up just a little bit. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to see on the camera, but this one just doesn't look as good as the other ones. Let's move down here to the 15-inch cabinet. This wiring is likely not original. I don't think this is just some regular speaker wire. It looks like somebody had put in a new jack, I guess, at some point. So maybe the jack got dirty. If I'm going to get the soldering iron out for the top one to just do that one, I might as well rewire this one just to be sure. I'd like to have all this soldered up anyway. And I'm going to use the same colored wire as well, just to stick with the original specs. This one seems a little dirty on the inside. Just some wood shavings and stuff in here. This one does not have the original casters on it. Can you make out the writing here? Bass, BTMS, bass bottoms, 50. Somebody will usually sign it in QC, and this one, I guess, has PC written on it. There's no signature on the bottom one. Let's start by pulling these quick connects off. Yeah, I mean, the way they had it works. They were both wired correctly. Everything's in parallel. They use these quick connect jacks, which are on stock Marshall cabinets today. I just feel better about everything being soldered in place. Plus, I like to use 16 gauge wire that I braid or twist. Although I do wish these speakers were turned facing each other so I could shorten the lead of wire together. Actually, let's do that because we're going to save a lot of wire if we spin these two around. You also want to check the solder joints on these solder tabs as well. from the speaker wire going in. And just because they came from Celestion and lasted all this time doesn't necessarily mean they're good. I actually would like to touch that up as well. Alright, good. So now instead of running the wire all the way down here and then out of the jack, I can use likely half as much. Very cool. Taking another look. Yeah, wiring's been touched up, and this one has been redone altogether. So the last thing I'm going to do before I close this up is address this thing right here. This here is supposed to brace the back, but I have heard stories about this vibrating a little bit. One of the things we can do to address that is if we measure where it is on the center, and when we put the back panel on, we drill another screw and secure this to the back baffle. That way there's no chance that it can vibrate against it in any way, shape, or form. I think the fact that it's open and cut out here would probably alleviate too much pressure building up inside of here, but I know a lot of closed back cabinets can have that problem. But it's easy enough to do, so we're going to go ahead and do it. And I did measure the impedance on both of these before I closed them up, and they are sitting just below 8 ohms, right around 6.8, which is what you want for an 8 ohm cabinet. Got our mark. Going to drill a pilot hole. If you ever need to replace any of these screws and finish washers, you can just use a number 8 by 2-inch wood screw. Well, now that we know we're working with something that's rock solid, let's go do the fun part. I should have brought some more mics, but everything I've got is in another studio. So I've just got an i5 and a C414 here, basically just a dynamic and a condenser on the 15s. I'm going to move those up to the 12s after we do a couple songs through this thing and see how it sounds. Right now, I mean, it's sounding pretty awesome. I've got the post phase inverter master volume all the way up. So I mean, it's dimed. Now the master volume I've added, I've actually got that down a little bit. Well, here, let's just hear it for a second. Shit, that's fucking loud. I forgot that I did another mod on this thing to give it a little bit more juice. So with the master volume all the way up, that's what you're going to get, and I've got the preamp gain volume up to about 8 right now. So if I back off this master that I installed here, to me, that's making it a lot more punchy, because without it, you're just oversaturating the phase inverter, which can be cool, but I don't like a muddy bottom end for this kind of stuff. When I first turned this thing on and was about to do this demo, I was like, why is it so dirty? So if I put a pull switch on this volume, so I pull it out, I can't even remember what I did there, to be honest. I probably put a cathode bypass cap over something. It might have been the cold clipping stage or something else. Either way, that's getting it a lot hairier. sick. I think this thing sounds fucking great. All right, so I've got the mics moved up to the 12-inch speakers. I think they're both going to sound great, but it is worth mentioning that just moving a microphone a little bit left or right of a cone on any speaker is going to make a really big difference in how it sounds. I feel like we're getting a little bit more low end out of the 15s, but it's kind of hard to tell because once you get closer to the floor, you're going to start to hear more low end anyway. We'll take that gain mod out a little bit. here's what I was talking about with this volume thing too. So if I turn the master all the way up, and this is what it sounds like in stock form. So if you have the volume at like 3.5, now it's okay. It's not really moving much air, and it's not very loud. Turn up to about 5. It's still not, still really clean, and it's not really coming to life yet. Get up to about 9. See what I mean? It's definitely woken up a little bit, but now that bottom end and everything is really, really distorted. So if we back the master, the new master that I put in, back, let's say about, we'd be sitting at about 6.5, 7. Back up. See, you notice the difference immediately. So by backing that thing off just a little bit, you're not really losing any volume, but you're saving that phase inverter from just getting slammed. A little bit of phase inverter distortion sounds good, but too much is just sludgy like that. So if I pull my switch back out to get a little bit more gain, you can back off this volume or the preamp volume even more. I mean, yeah, I could play this thing all day. It sounds killer. There's also no effects pedals or anything in the chain. I'm just playing this it's just a Fender Jazz Bass Special. Very cool, all original pickups, original knobs and everything. I believe this one's like 86 or 87. Made in Japan. Great basses. And I did play the bass the whole time with the pickup selector in the middle position, so I'm getting a little bit of both here. So thanks for sticking around and checking out this amp with me. It was a lot of fun to finally see what was inside, and I'm super stoked to have the original Celestion Sidewinders and all the cabs. That was great news and great to find out. Let me know what you think about the amp in the comments. Let me know what you think about the mods in the comments. I'm going to do another video with this head soon on a 412 packed with vintage 30s and a 415 with original G15M Celestions. Great sounding speakers, by the way, but they're definitely a lot more old school sounding than these guys. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.